now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today.
Okay, I'm sitting on a bench outside of the Parkchester complex, and I just got through doing some exercises. So I have to, as related to this heart failure, I have to do exercises every day, just trying to get my heart back together. So that's why you may see some videos coming outside. Now, I wanted to take a minute to address some of the comments that were made on my previous live stream where I talked about the update on my health and update on things as related to my condition. And I had a comment from an individual who said, you know, because you were out of work so long, this is why you can't find a job. And I want to explain to this individual that that's just not the case when it comes to things, especially when it comes to black men. Now, because they don't really understand how hard it is for black men in the job market. A lot of people don't understand, you know, how hard it is for the black men in the job market, especially compared to white women, compared to illegals. And you can go out here as a black man, again, like myself. I graduated at the top of my class at my college with a 3.95 GPA. Again, I had experience with AmeriCorps Vista with the Strive Job Readiness Workshop. And I had other experience with another nonprofit, and again, it still was extremely hard to be able to find work as a black man out here, because when it comes to many employers, they have a real serious issue when it comes to black men in the job market. They have a really serious issue with dealing with black men in the job market. A lot of people, they have discomfort when it comes to having a black man in the job market. This is something I experienced personally when I took a receptionist job at a law firm one of my family members worked at. I mean, they didn't have a problem with the black woman being in that front desk position. They don't have a problem with a black woman being in a front-facing position at a company. But when it comes to that black man, that's when they have an issue. And a lot of it is because people are just uncomfortable with the idea of a black man being in that type of position, and others are uncomfortable with a black man being in a position where they can have any semblance of power whatsoever as related to anything as related to the job. I mean, when it comes down to a lot of people inside of the job market, a lot of the white supremacists, again, they have issues with black men having any sort of power whatsoever. And this really, again, makes it where they don't want to see black men in any sort of job, especially, you know, front-facing jobs. And that's what there's a majority of in the service sector of the economy. There's a large, again, large group of these jobs. But when it comes to these jobs, a lot of people don't want to see black men because it's not optically making them comfortable. I mean, it doesn't make them comfortable optically, so they don't like to see it. And so this is why it's very hard for black men to find jobs, especially with all the racism that nobody wants to talk about. I mean, nobody really wants to cover it as related to things, but there's a lot of ongoing discrimination that goes on, because I saw it firsthand when I was looking at working through the CUNY hiring pool. I saw it firsthand, and what I saw basically proved the point that I had seen from my own observations. You know, when it comes to these jobs, people will start talking about, oh, the black man he has gaps of 2 and 3 years, or he has all these other issues. But when we look at those issues, when it comes to migrants, when it comes to white women, it's a whole different story. I mean, when it comes to the white woman, or even the black woman, she can be gone from the job market for years, saying that she was going to raise her children, or she was going to school, or she was a part of a marriage, and a company will sit there and give her a job and give her a chance to be able to make money financially. They'll let her have a paycheck, but when it comes to the black man, they won't cut him some slack because he's trying to just find the time to go and search for his job. I mean, they'll sit there and ask you like I've been in interviews, what you were doing, what were you doing out here, what's going on with you. They'll ask you these type of questions, and they'll ask that, and they won't ask that of anybody else, but they'll try to, again, use this to weed a black man out. And they also, with the illegals or the migrants, again, you have people with felonies on their records in their own countries. You have people who have been charged with crimes in their own countries. And many of these employers will overlook those crimes of these individuals and again look to give them a job, and say, oh, I'm giving this guy a chance. I mean, in some cases, even giving him a second or third chance. I mean, they'll go out here and look to make that type of excuse. But a black man who comes out of college or comes from, working out here, they looking to make excuses to weed that black man out and say that, he shouldn't have this job. And then when that guy is out of work for extended periods of time, then they want to say, oh, you've got a gap on your work history, or you've got a spotty work history, not seeing that, there's people working behind the scenes to keep that black man from being able to go out here and work, keeping that black man from being able to go out here and make that living. That's what happens a lot of times, but nobody wants to talk about that at all. And I just want to clarify things for these people who think, oh, how can a guy be out of work for 17 years? Well, if nobody wants to call you back, I mean, you can fill out the applications online. You can go out here and send in the resumes. You can go out here and again, I have sent out thousands of resumes to different companies. I mean, and it's really frustrating because nobody really calls you back. I mean, sometimes you even go in for the interview and then they don't even try to even make an effort to interview you. I mean, it's a nightmare when you're a black man out here. It's just really a lot of stress. Again, you're trying to go out here and trying to find that job, because that's what I was trying to do ever since 2008. I mean, 2008, I was trying to go get another job. I was trying to do that through the CUNY civil service system, and they just kept looking to hire women and preferring women. I mean, I remember one interview I did with John Jay where everybody was just against me even before I came in the room. I mean, when I came into the room, I could just feel the negative energy radiating in the room because they didn't like the idea of being in the presence of a heterosexual black man. They just didn't like being in the presence of that black man and that black man being in that position. And they quickly were looking to just find a way to weed me out. And I just gave up on that whole job because they didn't even want to try. I mean, that's the frustrating thing about going on these interviews, is that a lot of times you want the job, you want to show people what you can do, but they come in with their prejudices, they come in with their own ideas, and they come in with their own preconceived notions about black men that they get from the media, they get from old stories from the antebellum South about the lazy black man, the shiftless black man, and that's really backwards, because again, black men were the ones who built this country, but they'll say, oh, you're going to be sitting there lazy, you're going to be sitting there doing nothing, or you're going to take my money, and spend. It's like, why are you thinking about what I'm going to do instead of thinking about what I can do for you? That was always a critical question I would ask, but you can't really reason with people because they think, oh, you're not trying hard enough when you're going out here putting in the applications, you're going on places like Indeed, and you're hoping that you can get something. Because I was on Indeed for many years, and some of these things, they're fake, some of them are phony, but you got folks who want to sit there and say, you're not trying hard enough, you're not doing enough, and it's not the case at all. It's not the case at all as related to things, and you're trying to explain it to people, but they're not getting it. They're not really getting, how hard it is out here for black men, especially in this job market. I mean, we deal with a work environment, again, that I've said for many years is extremely hostile to black men, really cruel to black men, and I just want this viewer and other viewers to understand, if somebody gives you that chance, you can't really get it, and the whole thing is harder for the black man to get a chance because, again, you can go out here and put in all the applications like I have for many years, and they'll pass you over for a white woman who basically took some time off to raise her kids, or a black woman who took time off to raise her kids. No problem with that gap. Or a person who entered the country illegally, again, violated our U.S. Constitution and the laws of our Constitution, and came into our country illegally. It's perfectly fine to hire that person. But when the black man who has no criminal record, is basically, again, does well in school, shows a consistent record of work, even outside of not having a job. I mean, like myself, I showed a consistent record of publishing books, showing that I was constantly working, even though I didn't have a job, even though I had no job. I was still out here working on something, And again, showing a record of things, even with the YouTube showing a record of things, but that's not good enough for an employer. But the person who enters the country illegally with a criminal record, perfectly okay. The white female who decides to disappear for a couple of years, that's perfectly okay. Even the black female who decides to, again, stay in the house with her husband, that's perfectly okay. But when the black man comes in, you're a bad guy, you're a lazy guy, you're not trying hard enough, you're not working hard enough to get a job. And that was a thing that I dealt with for many years. And again, it's really frustrating because I wanted to work. I mean, I was pushing hard, even up to the point where I was starting to have these heart issues. And when I started to have the heart issues, I didn't know that it was happening, but I still was out here looking to try as hard as I could. I wanted to get back out here, and I don't know if I'll ever be able to get out here and be able to work and show people what I can do. I mean, you can't show somebody something they don't want to see. You can't show somebody something that they don't want, and that's the whole problem. That's what I'm starting to realize. I mean, again, like I said in the stream, you could have diamonds and gold and all that stuff for someone, but if they don't want what you're going to give them, you can't give it to them. It's like the black women with the good man. There's a good man who wants to give you a better life, but if you don't want it, I can't give it to you. I mean, that's the whole thing that I deal with the job market, and I just want to make it plain for people. This is how it is. For a guy like me out here. I want you to know the truth, and that's what I wanted to, come back and explain a bit more in depth, because as I'm working, to get myself back on track, trying to get myself back on track. I mean, I'm trying to follow what my doctor has tried to tell me. My doctor told me to start exercising, and that's what I'm doing right. That's what I was doing a minute ago. I just walked around the block. I'm starting slow because I heard one guy, he took him 18 months to get back to where he was supposed to be. I was watching it on Gordon Ramsay's Secret Service last night, and he was talking about, how he had to go and after he recovered from quadruple bypass, but I just had some stents, but it's just it takes a long time to recover. I'm trying to get back to where I was, and that's part of what I'm trying to do right now. I mean, that's why I'm doing the video outside right now, and I just want people to understand, the struggles of black men in the job market, the struggles of ready to work, and understand where I'm coming from.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks in a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business at paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.